Everybody, I want you to imagine basically. I want you to imagine a human being, and a human being has a structure. It's built upon some of the basic elements. Or in general, I want you to imagine life, the biological life on the planet. On the other side, I want you to imagine this whole planet, this whole biological planet. We would like to correlate the two, and we would like to conclude something out of this correlation between the biological life on the planet and the planet as a whole in itself. So guys, that's our target. We want to realize what life is basically. Can we say that the life of a biological entity is the only life? Or we can think of this whole planet as a life, and the kind of role that the life plays on this planet is maybe something like that of the role of the cells that play in our bodies. This is a kind of correlation, a kind of similarity we would like to realize, we would like to feel, we would like to demonstrate. So guys, let me start with this argument, and the argument is quite simple, that we want to have a realization of the life, a biological cell, and we would like to make it analogous with the life that with the planet itself that we have. This is the thing that I want to talk about. This is the thing that I want to put some light on. So right now, what's happening is, as you sit in your chair, wherever you are sitting, what you have a massive industrial operation going on. A massive industrial operation is happening basically inside you. And you think you are the same. You are the same person who walked on the road, who walked through the door. This is what we generally feel about. But you are not the same person. Inside you, maybe there are approximately 50 to 70 billion cells. This much of cells will die today. 50 to 70 billion cells. So every day there's the death of 50 to 70 billion cells. That's far more than the number of people who ever lived on this planet. You see how crazy it is. So what's happening? We are dying inside. So dying inside you every 24 hours. This number of cells are dying. Say for example, the red blood cell, what we call as RBC. It's a cell. Think of a single red blood cell. If you think about a single red blood cell in a very simplistic approach, what it does, it travels inside our body, it travels nearly 300 miles in its lifetime. And what it does, it basically delivers oxygen and it removes the waste that's aggregated in our body. And then it quietly retires. This is so amazing. This is so fascinating. This is so realizing. So what's happening? It is replaced by a fresh, energetic newcomer, a new RBC, a new red blood cell. Now, if your cells refuse to die, say for the sake of argument, if they will refuse to die, you would develop cancer. See the mechanism. Life requires death to remain life. That's the argument. So death is an essential part for the biological life that we have. We are a constant river of matter. The water in the river, you have a river, the water changes, but the river, it remains same. It changes the geometry over millions of years in a geographical river, but as bodies, as biological bodies, there are rivers within us through which these cells pass. So can we imagine Earth as a whole alive? So I would like to make a transition from the human body to the planetary body. Now for us, we are living on this planet and we call this planet Earth. This is where we live. This is we live and we die, and newcomers always keep on coming. Now let's be honest about it. Let's look towards the Earth. If we look at the Earth from the moon, say for example, you are on the moon and you're looking towards the planet Earth, we will not see a rock. No, not see a rock. We see a membrane, a kind of membrane on this planet. This membrane is basically the atmosphere. And atmosphere is acting like a skin, like the skin that we have on human bodies. The oceans on this planet, they represent the blood that flows in our bodies. The oceans, it's the blood of the planet Earth. And the soil is the great belly. We can imagine it as a great belly for the planet Earth. Let's take an example. Say when a tree falls in the forest, suppose it naturally falls or accidentally falls, or it is cut down, we observe what we observe at an end. We observe the falling of this tree as meal for the soil. The fungi, the bacteria, the insects, what they do is for them, the meal has fell down, the food has fell down, and these fungi, bacteria, they are the digestive enzymes of this planet. And what they do, they break down these old trees, and they break down them to feed the new one. There's no trash in, we can say there is no trash in a living organism. It goes on and on. Your body does not throw away, it doesn't throw away iron. What it does basically is it recycles it. And at the same point of time, the earth does not throw away, it doesn't throw away carbon. It basically breathes it. The carbon becomes a point of breathing. Everything is eaten, and at the same time, everything is reborn, recreated over those cycles that we can see on the planet Earth. And see, let's think in terms of connectivity. I mean, we have the connective tissues, what we call them mycelium and clouds. Now, what's happening here is, what am I trying to tell you is that these things prove the earth has a nervous system using we can identify these things using some scientific instruments, and we can have examples to realize the nervous system of the whole planet Earth. So the question arises that how does a body stay healthy? What's the mechanism? Why it remains healthy? What is the basic reason for our body to remain healthy? Okay, healthy, I mean to say living. It's because of the communication. And in our bodies, we have a network known as nervous system. Your nerves send signals. They send signals instantaneously from one point to another point. Does the earth have the nerves? This is my question. And the answer is yes. The earth as a whole has nerves. It has nervous system. And to realize this, if I take an example of the wood. The wood has a very wide web over this planet. It was in 1990 we discovered mycorrhizal networks. And these mycorrhizal networks, these are hidden underground nervous systems over miles of fungal threads reaching over large distances. What they do is they connect the roots of every tree on the planet. Tree 1, tree 2, tree 3, they have a connection. Now, what's happening here is, suppose a tree in a corner, at a distant corner, is starving with hunger or starving with pain. The network that we are talking about sends a sugar from a healthy tree. You have a healthy tree and you have a starving tree. A signal goes and sugar is transported from the healthy tree to this tree. If an insect attacks a leaf on a tree, the network that we have, the network sends a chemical warning. It sends a chemical warning to whole forest. So the foresters that you have, for the sake of argument, these foresters act as the mind of the planet. You hurt one thing, the signal goes to everything. The earth feels because the earth is weird. It has nervous system. It has its own chemical actions going on from one plant to another plant. So there, you cannot ignore that reality. Earth as a whole is conscious. It can feel the touches and the call of action. Why this matters? Why this matters for the college? Why it matters for the humanity to understand? Why? It certainly has an impact of realization. So where do we fit in this whole planet? Humans are very new type of cell for the planet Earth. We are the neurons of the planet Earth. We are the part of the Earth's body that can think and dream. But what happens? What happens when a neuron forgets it belongs to the body? It becomes toxic. It becomes poison for the body. When we implement, say for example, technology, when we impose technology, when we implement technology, like our access control systems, we are simply building a better synapses for the whole planet Earth. As the cells are doing inside our bodies, we are organizing the flow of life. We are organizing, we are mantling, we are dismantling, and we die, new ones are born. The earth is not a place we live on. No, it's not a place that we live on. The earth is a person. It's a human. We live with it. When you leave this room, today, suppose you are alive, when you leave this room today, don't just walk on the ground. Don't feel that you are walking on something that does not belong to you. You should feel the pulse of the belly beneath your feet. And that belly is the belly of the planet Earth. That's the argument. That's the point I want to share with you. And this is acknowledged. The billions of cells dying inside you so that you can live. So death is becoming an important part for the life. And acknowledging the billions of lives that are dying on this planet, so the planet can live. So what could be the conclusion? The conclusion of this argument is we are just one breath, one body, one life. So we should realize that part of cohesiveness that should be within us, because we are one life. Thank